What's going on? Judd here, over here in North Carolina at the Charlotte Convention Center. Super stoked to be here. It is rainy outside, but inside here I feel like it's warm and awesome, getting to see all kinds of incredible people. And of course, I know that Chris and I were on chat. You were on chat with me and we were like, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? We made it happen, so here we are. We're here at the NPE 2023, man. So good to see you, brother.
Nice to see you, man.
Cool. Man, you've had a kicking year. You've gone through a lot of traveling as well. You've been amping up, all kinds of great progress. What's going on? What's going on with Surface Solutions out of Maryland, brother?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, Surface Solutions is, ramping up every year. Our revenue has continued to grow year over year. And I think, this is a year that we're going to continue to see growth, but I think our biggest project for this year is not only having the company continue to grow, but putting the processes in place and kind of starting to move some of the things off my plate. We've scaled the company to a certain point, but it's also gotten to a point that if I don't continue to start to put some processes in place in order to put some of the projects on other people's plates and get things off my plate, we're kind of at that level that we're not going to scale any farther without moving some of that stuff along. So I think our biggest goal for this year is to try to diversify the company as far as putting some things on different plates and different people to allow me to kind of run the overall picture and scale the company to the next level.
So question, because I know people are probably going to ask this question, is like, where did that mindset come from? Where did this tactical approach to ultimately now go to the movement of scaling, where did that come from?
I think for me personally, right, it's like we had to decide where do we want to take this to. And that was something that about a year ago, I had to sit down and say, okay, what do we want to do? Where do we want to go long term? And then start working that backwards to figure out how we were going to get there, right? Because I think everybody says, hey, I want to be the biggest that I can possibly be, right? But at the end of the day, you have to understand what you want out of life and what's going to make you be successful, right? And then figure out how you're going to get there. Because having the mindset of just, I want as much money as I can get, you're probably not going to actually get there. But if you have an idea of exactly what you want, and then you work backwards on the roadmap on how you're going to get there, you can make it happen. And I think, just my time of being in all kinds of different groups of different people inside the industry, and even groups of people that are outside the industry and other businesses, but just have like mindsets, has changed my professional career and my outlook on things, on how I want my organization and the people inside my organization to help me get it to the next level. And I think that's the one thing people have to understand, right, is it's not your vision, it's not my vision, it's our vision. It's everybody inside the company, because if the people that work for you don't have the same vision, or at least some level of vision of where they want the company to go, then nothing's going to happen, right? Everybody on the team has to be ready to work together as a team, and they all need to have a vision in the same area going to the same point. If you just have the mindset of, hey, we're going to work tomorrow and we're going to pay this on the parking lot, that's not going to create the financial success or whatever level of success that you're looking for in business.
And I find it extraordinary that, because I know you're definitely a young business owner in our industry, because you're 24 years old. 24 years old, full paving asset management company, like literally, and thriving. You're growing, you've got cash, you've got assets, you've got team, you've got culture, you're on the board at top contractor school, 24 years old. What would you say is what was the key factor that allowed you to that gave you that mindset of going after something that's different than the average person who has experienced 24 years of their life?
For sure, I don't think there was any one thing that really got me to do what I'm doing. I started a seal coating company in high school that all just came from a job I had originally. The guy decided to go back to corporate America, and that's kind of where that was born. And there was no plan for that to grow into what it grew in today. I had 100% had a plan to go to school for sales and marketing, and I went to college and it just didn't work out for me. So then it was figuring out what the next thing was, and I just happened to create some relationships in the industry in order to get me the help I needed to get started. And so that's kind of how everything steamrolled from there. And we've had very, very good success and growth. But we've also gotten to the point, as growth goes, everybody has problems. And we had to make a decision, look, hey, could we take this to $5, $6, $7 million next year? Certainly we can. But is that what we want to do? Because look, if you have problems at $3 million and you don't fix them, you go to $6 million, now you have double the problems, right? And so we had to look, we sat down and we said, look, we're going to have growth this year. Are we going to have the growth that we had last year? No, but I'm fine with that, because we're going to spend this whole year to have growth. but also put the systems and processes in place to create the culture, create the processes to have a solid foundation and an organization of people that are looking to go to the next level. Once we build that family, build that organization, and build all those processes and systems, then next year we can regroup and take it to the moon, because we have all the pieces of the puzzle. It's just time to put it together and then make everything happen.
To me, that's such incredible journey that you've been through, like what you're sharing right there. Because I remember, like, I started my very first business when I was 18, and I sold our asphalt maintenance company, because I considered it asphalt maintenance back then. And of course, we weren't using the terminology like pavement asset management, for example. But I sold it when I was like 22. And I sold it in a mindset that was very different than what your mindset is. And the reason why, I believe truly, is because I hadn't found the right people that I'd look up to that really drove me to that next level of growth and understanding. Because I think if I would have continued to build the business for another couple of years with people that were pushing me, like mentors that were pushing me and that allowed me to understand and learn about processes and understanding financials and truly understanding that cash is king and it's not just revenue, like there's so much more than that. If I understood that, the multiplier would have been different. I would have exited at a much different level. So I want to congratulate you, man. Not just for building the business, but I really want to congratulate you by having the relationships and nurturing the relationships that are the ones that you desire to nurture in order to get to the point of building the brightest future for yourself. Like, you surround yourself with people that are going to help you to get there.
That's correct, yeah. And I think one of the things you can talk about too, I think is one of the most important things, to me that has created, the vision and the success that we've had so far. I think the one word you can use is relationships, right? If you don't have the relationships, you don't have anything. And I see it all the time, right? You see these businesses that they grew to a certain point that they're successful in their eyes, which is perfectly fine. But then they don't hit the pause button, but they don't grow anymore, right? I'm happy here. They just put it on cruise control and they let it go. But the issue you have when you do that, right, is you've heard the famous words, if you're not growing, you're failing. And it's the honest truth, because if you're not considering, if you're not getting better each and every day and steady going up, and that doesn't have to be in revenue, it could be in a lot of things inside the business, but if you're not continuing to grow in some level in the business, you're going to have the next person like me coming right behind you to run you out of business, right? So it's like, there's people that we've caught up to in our market fairly quickly with the way we do things, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you just have to understand I have to be on my feet just as much as everybody else needs to be on their feet, because I have no way to know that next week that there's not a 21-year-old in my community that's going to pop up and do the same thing I just did. So you have to continue to grow. If not, you're going to get passed.
Are you taking market share right now?
Market share as far as
the industry, like in your area, are you taking market share because of what you're building?
100%, yes, 100%.
Does that excite you?
It does excite me, but I think at the end of the day, I think everybody wants to take 100% market share, right? And at the end of the day, I have no interest in taking 100% market share, because what I tell everybody is, I want there to be multiple different options, because if there's multiple different options, it lets us shine, right? Because we're getting compared to other people. But I think the other thing is, not every customer in the book is a good customer, right? Not every job that we go and look at do we want to work for. There's certain people, it's just, I can tell them straight up off the bat, I'm like, look, we appreciate the call, we appreciate the opportunity to meet with you, but this relationship's just not the right fit. Here's why. Not necessarily that we don't want to work with you, but maybe the job that you're doing is not our niche market, right? And I think that's important. From the beginning, I didn't do it. If you called, you had a job, we sold the job, we did it. It didn't matter what it was, right? It was just, we did it. And now it's to the point that we kind of sit back and go, you know what? Could we do that job? Yes. Does that make sense for us? No, because hey, we're a lot more profitable, we're a lot more successful in this market. So let's do this since we're in the situation where there's enough of that work out there for us. And so I think that's one of the most important things another important thing you can remember is when to say no and when to know that job is not the job for you and your organization.
So important. I've got another question, and while we're here at the National Pavement Expo, everybody, you can see the National Pavement Expo and Conference Center right here. This is 2023 in Charlotte, North Carolina. I know that we're headed to Tampa next year, right?
Yep.
You gonna be at Tampa?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, you'll be in Tampa? I'm gonna go there too. It's an easier trip for me. And it's less cold, man.
Yeah.
It is cold and rainy here, but you know what? We're inside and having a ball, continuing to nurture the relationships. I do have a question, Chris.
Yeah.
Why are you here at the National Pavement Expo in Charlotte?
You know, that's an interesting question you ask. And so I was having that conversation the other day. You know, somebody was like, you know, you've been every year, why are you going again? And I think at the end of the day, you know, relationships is something that has changed my life. You know, if it wasn't for the relationships that I found and the people that connected me to other people, I literally would not have what I have today. And so I think it is, you know, it's my duty and my responsibility not only to nurture those relationships and continue to keep those relationships, but go find the next person that I can create a relationship with, that I can help, you know, help them with what people did for me. Because at the end of the day, if you don't pay it forward, you know, you're not doing anybody any good. And so I think it's just continuing to nurture the relationships that I have, continuing to, you know, give everybody the hugs, the fist bumps, have the conversations, see how they can help me, see how I can help them, but then also find that next person that you can help scale their self and their business, help them get set up and help them get their family and organization to the next level.
Dude, I am so excited for what you have ahead. I know that you're in the ultimate present right now, but the future ahead, your path looks so incredibly bright. I'm excited for you to go through this next game of business, so to speak, of really nailing your processes and really building a thriving, cash-heavy company. Like, that's so exciting, man. It's such an incredible thing. It's filled with great team members, aligned with culture that matters, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the one thing, when you talk about processes and everything, one thing that I'll throw out there, and then I have no problem throwing out there, is like, you've always heard people say, like, don't open the curtains, right? Like, we got a beautiful operation on the front, but don't open the curtain. To be quite honest with you, man, it's not that bad, but that's kind of what Surface Solutions is right now. Like, I don't mind being transparent about it. Our processes and systems are not up to par with what we do on a daily basis and with the image that we present, and that's something that we're working on now to kind of nail down. But at the end of the day, you know, you got to put that nice face out. You got to make everybody happy, make everybody, you know, feel good, put a good product out. But at the end of the day, we're costing ourselves more money because we're doing everything manually versus putting those processes. And so I think it's just good for everybody to know that, you know, there's people at all different levels in businesses, and every single person has problems. You know, everybody says, you know, if I could just get past this, we'll be great. But you know what I've learned from day one, I'm like, man, if I can just get to this point, it'll be nice and smooth. But, you know, the bigger you get, the bigger the problems get. The only nice thing is, once you get all through those smaller problems, you get bigger problems, but you learn that, hey, it really isn't that big of a deal. It's something we got to work through. There's no need to get all bent out of shape over, you know, you spray the side of a building. It is what it is. How are we going to fix it? How are we going to prevent it from happening again? And let's move on, because there's a lot more, you know, ahead of us.
It's awesome, man. I'm so proud of you, dude.
Yeah.
I am so grateful that you take the time out of your day here. I know you're always willing to jam and help people out who are watching. And you guys, if you have any questions, you can comment down below. You know, you can ping us, DM, PM, anywhere. And where can people find you on social?
Yeah, for sure. They can find me. We have a company page, Surface Solutions, on Instagram and on Facebook. Or you can find me at Christopher_Filippelli on Facebook or on Instagram. And I'll be happy to drop it in the comments when I see it posted that way. I know my last name's hard to spell, so I'll drop it in the comments.
Cool. It'll be right down there in the description, and also we'll put other links to other interviews and freestyle sessions that Chris and I have had. They'll be down below. But incredible to watch the growth, be a part of the journey, and to ultimately see an incredibly bright and successful future for you, man. I'm so proud of you, bro.
Sure, man. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. National Pavement Expo 2023, Charlotte, North Carolina. See you soon.
If you liked this video, go ahead and check out this video, or check out this video. And don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe right here below.